Alright, well, we're going to open up this Hammond XK1. We've got some notes that are playing, so we're going to have to clean the contacts. And this may also come in helpful for anybody wishing to replace the battery. So there is a lot of screws to remove. I started here with these 3 on each side. Now we're just going to have to get the rest of the screws. Okay, so 26 screws. Now you don't have to remove these ones here where the screw is a cutout for those are holding the key bed in place, and there's 1, 2, 4 of those. 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And that gets your back panel off. Now if you're going to replace the battery, that's where did I see it? Right over there. There's your battery if you need to replace your battery. But we're not going to do that. We got some keys, like I said, that aren't working, so we're going to have to pull this board, since the keys that aren't working are right up here in this range. And are probably handled by the contacts on this board. So we're going to have to disconnect this carefully, of course. And then remove these screws: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. And there's access to get to them right there. So we'll do that next. Okay. Last 2 screws. Make sure you keep those in a safe place so you don't lose them. And there's our board. So we're going to have to pull these up and clean all the contacts up under them. I'm going to pull this back carefully. I'm going to do this whole board. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these and then assemble it, take off the neck strip, do that, and then we'll test it. Get yourself some Q-tips and isopropyl, or as in this case I'm using a 99.9% denatured alcohol. And gonna wet our Q-tip and just go over those. Now, some people have said, oh, you could take a pencil and do a graphite thing and work a pencil on these, and yes, that will work, but the question is for how long, because I've done that before and it worked for a while. So the best thing is just to go clean it up, and you can see we've just got a little, and that's probably just enough on there to cause a problem. We're gonna wet the other Q-tip, and we're gonna clean these too. Of course, we're gonna make sure that everything is nice and dry when we put it all back together. You'll notice on this that this top row is actually higher than the row below it, and the reason for that is velocity. So, light touch and softer touch. Obviously with a light touch, the higher one's going to make contact first. With a heavier touch, you're going to make contact with both of them, and it's going to put out a larger signal. And make sure when you do these you don't leave any fuzzies from the Q-tip in there. I'll just take a dry Q-tip and soak up the excess. Of course, since it's 99.9% alcohol, it will dry on its own quite nicely. And make sure we get this dried up too. Okay, so you got the idea on this. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of those, and then we'll put this back together and we will test it. When you go to put these back together, it's somewhat time consuming. What I got here is a piece of piano wire, and I'll just use the piano wire to push that in there like that. Notice you got smaller ones and larger ones. The piano wire works. Get the larger ones in first. Then you can just push down the smaller ones. They should fall right into place. Okay, so they're all back in on this strip. Make sure that everything is flat. There's one right there. That's the way we want it. Okay, they're all done. They're all cleaned. Now it's just a matter of putting it all back together and testing it. So, there's little pins right here that'll drop on to make sure you're lined up properly. And you just get yourself one screw starting it to hold it in place, and then you can start putting all the other ones in. Okay, just keep getting all these screws back in place. Make sure you snug it down good. You don't want that board loose. Otherwise you'll press a key and that board might move away from the contact, and then it could cause you problems. Alright, before I put the bottom panel on, I think it might be wise to hook this up and test it, because I hate to have to go through all of that, putting all those screws in to find out I missed one or something's still not right. So we're just gonna flip this down. And we're gonna hook it up and give it a test. Okay, we're all hooked up. Let's power it up. Most of the problem was up here. I actually had about 4 notes, and in some of them it would cancel out the other note. That was really weird. Success. I hope this video was helpful. I don't need to explain how to get the back panel on. Set it on there very carefully and make sure not to tighten all your first screws down completely until you get all the screws started, just in case the holes aren't quite lining up correctly.